what lies in the future for Shang-Chi, the master of martial arts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Which formidable villain will grace the screen to challenge the superhero's newfound power and skills in Shang-Chi 2? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has laid down some exciting groundwork for the sequel, Shang-Chi 2, which Marvel Studios has officially confirmed is in the works. Now don't hold your breath for the sequel just yet, it might be a little while before it hits the big screen, but in the meantime, we've got plenty of breadcrumbs from the first movie to chew on, with those intriguing post-credit scenes and the cool new powers, characters and places introduced. It's pretty clear that Shang-Chi is getting ready to be the next big thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, in Shang-Chi's debut adventure, we meet the man himself, played by the charismatic Simu Liu, and his trusty sidekick Katie, played by the ever-entertaining Awkwafina. They run into some trouble with the Ten Rings, an underground group led by Shang-Chi's superpowered dad, Wenwu, played by the legendary Tony Leung. This sets them off on a wild journey that takes them across different continents and dimensions. Along the way, Shang-Chi reconnects with his long-lost sister, Xialing, portrayed by Mengir Zhang, and together they work to stop their father from unleashing some ancient, world-threatening evil.
Sorry.
Wenwu is no pushover. He's got the real 10 rings that give him everlasting life and some crazy superhuman abilities. But after a jaw-dropping showdown, Shang-Chi ends up with those rings by the end of the movie. Now, here's where things get really interesting. While Shang-Chi might have gotten his hands on the 10 rings themselves, it's his sister, Xialing, who steps into the driver's seat of their father's 10 Rings organization. In those end-credit scenes, we see her giving the whole operation a fresh makeover. She's reimagining and modernizing what Wenwu built, and she's training a whole new crew of recruits, a mix of men and women. It's pretty clear that she's primed for something major in Shang-Chi 2. As the head honcho of a secret group of top-notch fighters, Xialing now has the potential for some serious power. The big question is, will she use it for good or maybe not so good? I mean, she did run an underground fight club, so her moral compass is still up in the air, and she seems to share her father's intense ambition, which is quite different from her brother's more laid-back approach. Based on what we've seen in the post-credit scene, it looks like Shang-Chi 2 is going to dive into what Xialing does with her newfound leadership role, and who knows, she might just follow in Wenwu's footsteps to become a formidable rival to Shang-Chi. All of this is laying the groundwork for an absolutely tantalizing sequel. But wait, there's more to think about for Shang-Chi 2. Our hero himself, Shang-Chi, may have some serious soul-searching to do as he figures out how to wield the 10 rings and unlocks their full potential. In Disney Plus's Assembled series, which gives us a peek behind the scenes of recent Marvel projects, the folks behind the film compare Wenwu's connection to the Ten Rings to a kind of addictive drug. It's like they turned him from a good guy to a not-so-good guy. So there's every reason to believe that Shang-Chi won't be immune to the allure of those rings. Shang-Chi 2 might see him wrestling with the temptation of his newfound powers and struggling to resist their addictive nature. The introduction to Ta Lo really adds up another layer of intrigue to what Shang-Chi 2 could be all about. Ta Lo is a hidden pocket dimension, and it's unlike anything we've come across in the MCU so far. There are so many questions left hanging from the first film. What's the history of Ta Lo? How did it come into existence, and how does it actually work? And is there more to this dimension than just the village we've seen? Plus, what's the deal with those mythical creatures roaming around the place? It's like there's a treasure trove of storytelling possibilities waiting to be uncovered in the mystical world of Ta Lo. But there's more. That end credit scene in Shang-Chi really teases us with a mysterious beacon. It starts transmitting as the 10 rings pass from Wenwu to Shang-Chi. Wong, Bruce Banner, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi and Katie all gather to puzzle over what it might mean. It's pretty clear that this is setting the stage for more crossovers and interactions with the rest of the Avengers. As we all know, what makes a good superhero movie is a super and a super bad villain. So with that, let's discuss which villain will Shang-Chi 2 give us. The Celestial Order of the Sifan Cyber Ninjas. Here's another intriguing addition to Shang-Chi's potential villains in Shang-Chi 2, the Celestial Order of the Sifan, an ancient secret society. Back in the 1970s, this group of ninjas, led by the formidable Fu Manchu, proved to be one of Shang-Chi's most persistent adversaries. Their main goal was to defend Fu Manchu's honor and help him in this grand scheme to conquer the entire world. Talk about ambitious, right? Now, in more recent comic iterations, specifically in X-Men Volume 2, numbered 62, the Sifan underwent a transformation and became the Sifan Cyber Ninjas. This newer version turned them into a fictional terrorist group of highly skilled mercenaries for hire in the Marvel Comics universe. Picture epic battles between them and Shang-Chi. Those showdowns have the potential to be absolutely thrilling on the big screen in Shang-Chi 2. Fin Fang Foom, the post-credit scene in the first film, left us with a tantalizing hint about Makluans, who were suggested as the possible creators of the Ten Rings. Among the Makluans is the formidable Fin Fang Foom, an extraterrestrial entity that resembles a giant Chinese dragon. This character has a long history of causing chaos in the Marvel Universe and is intricately tied to the Ten Rings mythology. Fin Fang Foom hailed from the planet Kakarantara, and his name roughly translates to he whose limbs shatter mountains and whose back scrapes the sun. The Mandarin, a significant antagonist in the Marvel Comics, once plundered Foom's spacecraft in search of valuable treasures and stumbled upon the characteristic rings of power that we now associate with the Ten Rings. In Shang-Chi 2, there's an exciting opportunity to delve deeper into this extraterrestrial threat and explore the history and motivations of Fin Fang Foom, the Makluans, and their connection to the Ten Rings. This could open up a whole new realm of possibilities for Shang-Chi's adventures, and fans of the Marvel Universe will be eager to see how this unique extraterrestrial element plays out in the sequel. Cursed Lotus. Here's another interesting twist from the comics that could be explored in Shang-Chi 2, Shang-Chi's complex family dynamics. While the original movie didn't mention Shang-Chi having additional siblings, the comics have featured some of his brothers and sisters who remained loyal to their evil father. Imagine if some of these siblings were introduced in the sequel, possibly as separate members of the Ten Rings or as adversaries with their own agendas. It would provide a fresh perspective on Shang-Chi's family relationships and add depth to the story. One sibling of note is Cursed Lotus, who is one of Shang-Chi's most formidable foes. Unlike Shang-Chi, who resisted their father's influence, Cursed Lotus went on to lead the Oriental Expeditors, her own criminal organization. This could create a complex dynamic in Shang-Chi 2, with Shang-Chi having to face off against his own sister, making it challenging for him to go all out in a fight against her. It's a family conflict that could add a rich layer of emotion and drama to the sequel. Gorgon and the Hand. Gorgon, also known as Tomi Shishido, is one menacing mutant with some seriously extraordinary powers. He can turn humans into stone with just a single look. That's the stuff of nightmares, but what makes him even more formidable is his connections to the underworld organizations. To prove his fearlessness, Tomi went to gruesome lengths, including murdering his own parents and best friend, all to catch the eye of the notorious ninja clan known as the Hand. Now that's dedication to a life of villainy. In the first movie, the Ten Rings group posed a significant challenge to our superhero Shang-Chi, but in the sequel we might see a more complex villain landscape with the introduction of the Hand. This mysterious and martial arts focused criminal organization could provide an intriguing rival group, adding depth to Shang-Chi 2. The Hand, if portrayed in a fresh and innovative way within the MCU, could bring even more nuance to the collection of villains in the story, much like how they were presented in Marvel's Daredevil series. So, if the Hand makes an appearance, get ready for a whole new level of complexity and martial arts mayhem in Shang-Chi 2.